For as long as I can remember, I have wondered what it would be like to truly fit in. I would often ask myself what was wrong with me. Something that has been a huge part of my life has been my struggle with severe anxiety, and this is something that many people do not know about me. For a long time, I did not acknowledge my problem, and did not know that there was anything quote unquote wrong with me. I have long wondered if there was something wrong with who I am as a person, and if this is why I have had a hard time fitting in my close-knit, small-town school. As it turns out, there was never anything wrong with who I was. I simply deal with something that many will never truly understand. However, I have come to terms with this realization because is anyone truly ever able to understand another complex human being? And this brings me to another question. Can we ever truly understand ourselves? There is a battle that goes on inside of my mind every day, and I have learned that this is the reason why I have allowed so many toxic people into my life. I have always been terrified of being left alone, and I have desperately wanted the approval of people around me. I did not have my mind on what was really important, which was learning how to approve of myself. Ever since I can remember, I have counted down the days until the end of high school, due to the seemingly endless torment and the storm of sadness that followed me everywhere. Anxiety has made me feel like I am always drowning in my own thoughts. I feel anxious about every aspect of my life, whether that is trying to make a new friend or walking into the gas station to buy a snack. I have never really I never really knew that the severity of my anxiety was not something normal. However, this only made me feel much worse about myself. High school was quite a terrible experience for me, so much so that I had a calendar counting down the days until graduation, which is so soon now, and that's crazy. I have since gotten rid of this calendar and learned that I must enjoy today and not tell myself I'll be happy when. I've realized that I need to live in the present and make the most out of every moment. I can honestly say that I do not remember much about the earlier years of my high school career, except for a few not so happy events that stick in my mind. But my sophomore year of high school, I decided to apply to study abroad in New Zealand, which was something entirely new to me and out of my comfort zone. To be honest, I did not truly know if I was going to New Zealand for the adventure or to get out of my small town. Maybe it was a little bit of both. The term that I spent abroad helped me learn a lot about myself and who I am, away from the small town that I grew up in and the people that I have always strived to impress. I was able to find myself in a way, even though this experience was extremely emotionally taxing and something that tested my strength and helped me grow as a person. While in New Zealand, I learned many things about myself and how I was able to do anything I put my mind to. Even though going to a completely different country all alone at the age of 16 would be rattling to anyone, I felt like I was struggling much harder than my other peers from America who transitioned seamlessly into a life with all new people. I feel as though the shock of meeting so many people made me shut down in a way that I still do not completely understand. When I get anxious, the first thing to go is my voice. I feel like it is hard enough speaking up as is, especially when I criticize everything that I think about saying. I feel like I want to talk, but I can't, and then I spiral into a hole of self-doubt and loathing. This is something that I know is unhealthy now, but at the time, it was the only way I knew how to cope with what I was feeling. Of course, right when I finally felt like I fit in New Zealand, it was time for me to head back to the United States. This transition home was especially difficult for me, as I dreaded going back to my old high school. If I said that I made tons of friends in New Zealand, that would be a lie. I wasn't really ever able to click with anyone, and I think that was partly due to me. By the end of the trip, I had grown close with my host sisters and a few of the other exchange students that understood what I was going through. I finally came back to New Zealand, and much to my dismay, I had to go straight to school. While I was in New Zealand, I was going to school full-time as there was no extended breaks, so I hoped to have a week or two before jumping back into the public school system. But I did what I had to do. By my junior year of school, my mindset began to change, as I had recently returned from my life-changing trip to New Zealand. From my travels, I learned that I had to learn to be kind to myself because there was no way to get away from me. From here, I continued to advance in my self-growth, but I still have a long ways to go in fighting my fear and learning to truly enjoy life. Surprisingly, I learned a lot through this experience, and I was able to learn most about myself and how I feel. And this has been a very important part of my life. However, I was and still am far from learning how to simply enjoy the wonderful things that come with everyday life. I feel as though many people are alive, but not many people are actually living. All anyone wants in life is happiness, and sadly many people are never able to come to peace with themselves. After all, the person that you are going to be spending the most time with in life is you, so it is important to be kind to yourself. I am now almost finished with high school, and this is something that has seemed so far away for so long. And now that my childhood is coming to an end, I see why people say that you miss your childhood as you get older. I wish that there was something that I could tell my past self. I wish that I could tell her that she was beautiful and that the worrying was only causing her more pain. I would say that high school ends and stress how important it is to keep fighting. It is nearly impossible to express all the feelings and realizations that I went through during my change from childhood into adulthood. I do not feel like I am completely through this transition, but I think that I am at the tail end of the worst of it. I no longer keep a calendar counting on the days until I finish high school. In fact, I haven't used that calendar in almost a year, and I feel like I have come a long way in these last few years. I feel as if I have done this mainly on my own. Certainly no help came to me via the public school system, and I finally found a safe haven on online school. Sadly, I was just another statistic that was bullied out of the public school system. However, this turned out to be one of the best things to have ever happened to me, as I have been able to hold down 2 full-time jobs and do well in school. I have since continued my journey of learning who I am and what I should do to make every one of my days count, and I can't believe that I am almost out of high school. I once thought that this day would never come, and I can honestly say that I am pretty happy. Life is what you make it, and it is up to each and every one of us to make the choices that are best for us and take advantage of each day in order to live it to the fullest. I believe that it is important to remember that everyone is fighting their own battles, and we should be kind to everyone we meet because you never know what someone is going through. I know that I have a ton of life ahead of me, and I hope that I can use this time to learn more about myself and how I can make the world around me a better place.